Elections have consequences. Elections have consequences.
Good evening, everybody. Sandra Sheffer, host of Racing the Races, here with, introduce yourself.
Naomi Blemur, it's a pleasure to be on.
Yes, and so in our other co-host, Christine Sanon-Jules will be coming on. But before we get started today, we're going to talk all things immigration. There's a clip from CBS that we're going to play, and this is for educational purposes only. We're just using this as an educational purpose, so we're going to play this clip, and it's going to kind of lead into our conversation. It's a long clip, but we're going to go ahead and play it. I hope we can play it. I'm going to try to play it, and then we'll go from there.
One thing, though, that ICE is historically known for in our mission is we detain to remove. We don't detain punitively. So people do hear that increase in the bed space, but it's not for long term. There's no reason for someone to linger in a detention facility after they've been lawfully ordered by an immigration judge. We want to ensure that they can get back to their home country safely and quickly.
More than a dozen individuals are facing charges for that violent attack against an ICE facility in Texas. The Department of Homeland Security, as you know, has also reported a sharp increase in attacks against your agents. What do you think is behind that?
I think the sharp increase in the rhetoric, especially from a lot of elected officials that are shaming, if you will, or speaking out against the ICE law enforcement mission, is what's really increasing these attacks on officers. And that, unfortunately, the Alvarado incident down in Prairie Land, that is one that's really taken it to the next level. Just the increase is amazing. The fact that, like you said, 830% increase from last year in assaults on officers.
Do you think the increase in attacks against ICE officers is connected to the broader increase in ICE arrests across the country? Because you're seeing more arrests, you're seeing more attacks too.
I think we're seeing both. I think because we are more visible in the community. There was recently people that talked about the amount of support that ICE had under President Obama. Well, during those times, we did make more custodial arrests, those arrests like you would
in jails.
In the jails, right? We weren't really out there. We just don't see that now with a lot of the sanctuary policies and just a lot of lack of cooperation. So you are seeing us out more. And I think there is more of attention, kind of like you said, the immigration mission is one of the forefront of this administration. So there's a lot of scrutiny and publicity to it.
What do you say, Director, to the criticism that law enforcement officials, including ICE officers, should be identifying themselves and that the use of masks could be potentially dangerous, including because it could lead to imposters posing as ICE agents?
Yeah, and that's one of our biggest concerns. And I've said it publicly before. I'm not a proponent of the masks. However, if that's a tool that the men and women of ICE to keep themselves and their families safe, then I'll allow it. I do kind of push back on the criticism that they don't identify themselves. Men and women of ICE and our DOJ partners and local law enforcement do help us. They are identified on their vests. You can see the HSI, ERO, federal police officer, FBI on the back of the vest. So I would push back on the notion that we aren't identifying themselves. Now, what I would advocate for, and I've said this many times, is I know a lot of elected officials have put forward legislation or proposed legislation about banning of the mask, things like that. I would also want, elected officials to help us hold those people accountable that do dox or threat an ICE officer or agent or their family.
So you will continue to allow ICE officers to wear masks during operations?
I will.
Do you know how many of the individuals arrested by ICE are people here illegally, but who also have serious criminal records?
ICE is always focused on the worst of the worst. One difference you'll see now is under this administration, we have opened up the whole aperture of the immigration portfolio, meaning that if you're here illegally and ICE goes out and arrests someone that is released from a sanctuary jurisdiction or wanted in their home country, and an ICE officer finds other individuals with them who are in the country illegally, we're going to take them as well. One thing, though, that I'd like to highlight is the fact that foreign criminal records aren't in U.S. data systems. So when we do go out and, say, arrest someone that has an Interpol red notice because they're wanted in their home country, they're still a criminal, but under the American judicial state, they don't have an American criminal history. But that doesn't mean they don't have a criminal history in their home country.
If your agents encounter anyone who is here illegally, irrespective of whether or not they have a criminal record, that person will be taken into custody.
If they're here in the United States illegally, yes, they will.
Those are called collateral arrests.
Correct.
We just, as you mentioned, rode along with not Border Patrol, but ICE agents in Maryland, and we saw the agents arresting sex offenders, suspected gang members, the individuals that the president has promised to deport from the country. He often talks about getting rid of the worst who are in the country illegally. But we have also seen ICE arrest day laborers outside of Home Depots, in some cases farm workers, people attending their court hearings in immigration court. Is the policy still to prioritize the arrest and deportation of people who are here illegally, but also are violent offenders?
Yes, ICE is going to focus on the worst of the worst. And that's what we do need to focus our limited resources on. That's one thing I've always said from the start. What's, again, frustrating for me is the fact that we would love to focus on these criminal aliens that are inside a jail facility, right? A local law enforcement agency, state agency, already deemed that person a public safety threat and arrested them, and they're in detention. I'd much rather focus all of our limited resources on that to take them into custody. But we do have to go out into the community and make those arrests. And that's where you are seeing those increase of, if we encounter someone, say, that is here in the country legally, we will take them into custody. In regards to the work site, like you mentioned, one thing that I really like to highlight, especially what kicked off June 6th in LA, is the fact that when you see ICE doing these work raids, like the marijuana grow farm, we are going there with criminal search warrants or criminal arrest warrants. Not only are we focused on those individuals that are, working here illegally, we're focused on these American companies that are actually exploiting these laborers, these people that came here for a better life, either forced labor, child trafficking. A lot of these worksite cases just isn't a victimless crime of someone here working legally. And that's why we're going there with these criminal warrants, to focus on these American businesses that are trying to make an extra dollar on the backs of these people that came here for a better life.
So you are planning on holding accountable the employers, the companies that are hiring people who are here illegally, not just the workers?
100%.
Because that has been a concern.
It is.
Our colleague Margaret Brennan recently obtained ICE data showing that only a small percentage of the convicted criminals that ICE has deported over the past 6 months had convictions for violent offenses. For example, fewer than 1% had homicide convictions. What do you make of that data?
We can't look at it just based on the violence or the propensity of violence in that crime. What I look at is someone has committed a crime in the United States. Now, if you look at someone that's just been arrested, say, for DUI, while some people might say that's only a misdemeanor, we may have prevented vehicular homicide down the road for someone that's a habitual traffic offender. I can't look at the larger scale of what specific crimes are, whether it's a rape, a homicide. Of course, you want to get those worst of the worst. But if someone's committed a crime here in the United States and been let back into the community, and they're here illegally, we need to focus on that.
All right. He said a mouthful. He said a mouthful, Naomi. He said a mouthful.
He did. And he went.
He did. He said a mouthful. And that was for educational purposes only, y'all. That was thank you for CBS for that clip. I think it was Face the Nation. Thank you for that clip. That was for educational purposes only that we're doing that, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I took my notes.
I took some notes too.
Christine's coming on. I'm gonna go ahead and put her on the stage right now.
Wonderful.
Introduce yourself real quick. Sorry,
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Fantastic. I've got my I put a new setup today, so testing
nice.
So he said a mouthful in those 7, point whatever minutes, and I took some notes. And the first thing that I would like to make very clear is that this individual, Mr. Lyons, is an appointed director for ICE that was named by Kristi Noem. So this is the person who's going to be leading all of the, let's say, the agenda. This is the person who's responsible to roll out ICE's agenda. And clearly he's no novice, right? He's been around for some time. He knows exactly what the responsibility of ICE is supposed to be. Nevertheless, he makes it very clear that the mission of ICE is firm and that they are acting as law enforcement focused on public safety. Now, from a legal standpoint, I'm just going to allow Sandra to, talk about that a little bit, because, for us, our local public safety is supposed to be the responsibility of our local police department. But now ICE, who has a budget of what, $45 million, is now acting as,
it's a B billion.
Yeah, B billion, right? 40 something billion dollars is now acting as our police officers and making sure that we're safe. So Sandra, please tell us a little bit about.
So I don't know about them acting as police officers to make sure we're safe, because they can't do that, because they're actually using police officers to help them do the job that they can't even do themselves, right? So, so if that's what he's saying, that probably was just like he was talking a little bit faster than he was thinking when he said that, because they don't have enough agents to do the job that they are paid to do, so they can't get into the whole public safety space too when they have to go and contract out with all the law enforcement agencies practically in the state of Florida in order to assist them in doing the job that they have this whole big budget to do, right? So that, again, that might be a little bit of him talking faster than he was actually thinking when he said that. So, but what I did get from what he was saying is that if there is a person, a violent person or a danger to the community, or someone that was convicted of some sort of offense, they have an obligation to get that person out of the United States, right? Because they're there to detain and remove. So he did say that. And near the end of the video, when the interviewer asked him a question about, okay, well, what if it's a person that just has like a traffic or some DUI or something like that? He's like, well, it's a DUI today, and then it could be like a vehicular manslaughter, DUI manslaughter tomorrow. I'm like, oh, that's a leap, ain't it? And that ain't kind of how it works. But okay, if that's what he wants to say, because they're just trying to explain what it is that they're just trying to justify, not even explain, because the explanation, it doesn't exist, right? So they're just trying to justify what they're doing to make it seem, to explain why they're arresting people that are not considered dangerous criminals, right? Because they're like, well, we got to arrest them now because, they can get dangerous later. And basically he was saying they are going to get dangerous later, right? Like someone with a no valid driver's license, that person gets arrested today because, next time they're going to end up in some accident. I mean, like, what are the odds, right? And when they gave the information about, it's less than 1% of people that committed homicides. So that number is kind of tricky to say that, because if anyone who studies like crimes and criminal justice and everything, they know that murders are the least committed crimes anyway, and most of the crimes that are committed, it is only 1% of crimes that are actually committed that are in fact murders. So if that ends up being the population that's in ICE custody, that's actually representative of the population of people that actually commits homicides anyway. So I can't like that number right there. I'm not gonna say anything bad about him on that particular point, that number is small, because the reality is that number is small across the board in criminal justice, but it does match it, it does match up with what the system would say is that 1% of the people who commit crimes commit homicides. So
thank you, Sandra. Thank you. Something else that I felt was significant about this interview is that the gentleman talked about the ICE law enforcement wearing the mask, right? And he actually stated that although he was not comfortable with it, right, he is going to continue to allow it because the agents believe that this is, I guess, protecting them and their family. And of course, he made the suggestion that, oh, they're always with their badge and they're always with their jackets, and they showed that in the video. But we know that in certain communities, that's not necessarily true. They're not coming with all of their armor that is readily showing you that they are ICE agents, and they are here on an official capacity. And I think that's kind of problematic. Now, I did hear that certain cities are actually passing laws and saying that once ICE comes into the boundaries of their city, they cannot act with masks on. And I think that's extremely important, because what if there are some bad actors out there who decide that, hey, I am going to commit this type of act against people and act as if I'm ICE. And since they're not, necessarily looking for anything specific, because ICE have not specifically said this is how we are going to be dressed in a uniform way, we might have those issues. Another thing that I noted, he specifically stated that if they come into a space and they're looking for one person, and they find other individuals that they deem to be illegal, they're going to round everybody up. And I think that's very, very important, that although they're coming for one person, if they deem 3, 4, 5, 10 other people to be illegal, they're rounding everybody up. I see Christine's face looking like another thing, which I think was important to note. As I stated before, they have $45 billion, and they're looking to hire 10,000 new agents. And as Sandra stated several times, that's not enough to do the work that they are supposed to be doing. And so now they are contracting with cities to assist them in doing this work. And so you have a situation where the lines of who is illegal, for some reason, I just don't feel that there is a clear distinction. Am I wrong, Sandra? I just don't feel like there's a clear distinction that these individuals are illegal, and we know that those are the people that they're going after.
Right. So we can get into that conversation, but I kind of want to get Christine in here, and so she can say something, because I saw her shaking her head. I saw some of the face talking without words coming out of her mouth. So, and I believe you're familiar with the video too. So give some sort of comments, and then we can talk about, different parts of it.
So yeah, I'm not one to hide my emotions. So yes, I will always wear what I'm feeling on my face. What I don't understand is, where's the warrant with my name on it? You're going to come in here and you're going to tell me that if I find you and then I find everybody else, I'm taking everybody? Why? Where's the probable cause? That's not the law. Like, what are you doing right now? And anyone that even listens to that and says, oh my gosh, like, this is what they're going to, they have no legal authority to do these things. That is why it is so important to know your rights. And that is why I want to give a shout out to Flick, flick.org, who has an amazing Know Your Rights training. Like, they can't just be doing all of this stuff. And we need to be able to call them out on it. And we need to understand that, yes, they want to claim, oh, this is law and order. But we're the people. We are the people of this country. We are the ones that voted, unfortunately, a lot of these people into office. But ultimately, the Constitution is supposed to work for all of us. They do not have authority over whether or not we can walk on a street or work at our jobs or go to school. Like, you don't have authority over that. Where's my warrant? You're not going to arrest me. Period. Is my name on it? Is it signed by a judge? Because Christine Noem is not a judge or a magistrate. So if her signature is on this thing, rip it up. Listen, I'm telling you right now, we need to start understanding our rights and stop letting these people throw things around as if they can just create new laws without it actually being constitutional. So that's that, number one. And number two, I want to be very clear on this racial profiling situation. I want to be very, very, very clear. Um, if you feel confident that you can get on a mic and tell people, hey, if you look this way, we're getting you too, then you should not be in your position. Because I thought that the whole purpose was to get people that are doing bad things, to get people that are actually breaking the law, not people that look a certain way. So you're just admitting to the fact that you're just going to racially profile everyone and just start taking people in. Listen, they have a huge lawsuit on their hands. Take me. I'm not going to say a word. You're not going to know if I speak English or Creole. You're going to tell me that you look like one of them. I'm not going to say anything. Take me and detain me. I will sue you and everybody in their department.
So
Everybody needs to get lawyered up.
Christine, he did specifically state that they are not looking for criminals. He did say that. The gentleman specifically say, is the current policy that you are looking for the individuals who are here illegally and not just criminals? And he said, yes, we're not looking for criminals necessarily. Those are the first.
They're criminalizing. They're criminalizing your status. They're turning your status.
What he's saying is that the first group of people that we would want to remove here are the ones who have committed a crime. But that's not the top tier. The top tiers are, do you have legal status? And if you don't, we're picking you up.
So they're criminalizing your status. That's it. They're criminalizing your status. But at the end of the day, remember, you do not have to answer to them. You have your Fifth Amendment rights. They don't need to know. Period. They don't need to know. And don't lie either. Like, don't go around lying to anybody and saying, oh, no, I have this, I have that. But at the end of the day, that is not a crime. And we cannot condone this. So, I mean, listen, it is what it is.
Yeah, so this is the thing. So he did say, okay, we're looking for the worst of the worst, right? And then he said, we're looking for all the illegals. That's where the problem comes in. It's like, what is their definition of illegal? What is their definition of illegal? Because people who have status, like if you have a pending asylum application in the United States, you're not illegal, right? You're allowed to have a pending application. It's not your fault that they don't have enough people working in an asylum unit that they can't do your interview right away. It's not your fault that you had filed your application 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, some instances 12, 13 years ago, and they never called you in for an interview. That ain't on that person that did what they were supposed to do by filing that application, right? They're the ones that were derelict in their responsibilities and in their duties to call the person in, have an interview, adjudicate their case, and make a decision, right? It's not some of these people's fault that when they go into court, the judge is giving them a court date in 2029 because they don't have enough people, immigration judges that are working, but they still got the nerve to be firing people, right? When you have court dates set out that far. So that's the part that's like stunning to most people, is like you're referring to people that are illegal that are really technically are not illegal, right? So they just throw that word out there and think like just because they picked you up, you're an illegal. That is not how this works in immigration. That's not what it is. Pending applications mean that you have a pending status and you're allowed to stay in the United States until you get your asylum application heard. They're the ones that's taking too long to do that, right? And making it a problem. When a person has temporary protected status, that is a status. That's not a person that's illegal in the United States. But for them, they're like, even if you're a resident or a citizen, if you're not a resident or a citizen, anything past that is illegal. They're picking up students. I'm telling you, like, this is like, there's a person, and this is a public case. So I'm not gonna, so I'm not saying anything that I know. There's a person that there are at least 2 instances where people were here on tourist visas, visiting the United States, and they picked them up. Are you kidding me? And one of the guys is like, his family's like, he's just trying to go home. And he's in a detention facility and he was here on a tourist visa. That is not an illegal person that comes to the United States with a valid tourist visa that did not overstay. It was actually here on vacation, as he was allowed to be on vacation in the United States. So The
So
big issue here is this whole thing, they're throwing out that word illegal to try to make it seem as that they are actually picking up illegal folks. But I'm here to tell you that that's not what's happening.
and also everyone's blasting on the internet that they're hiring now that they have this budget. They're hiring for all these ICE officers. They're paying them starting like 100 and something thousand a year, right? They have no requirement, no educational requirements other than, you know, a high school diploma or whatever the case is. They don't even understand what the law is. And they're throwing out the word illegal. Where's the training? Where do they even learn what the different statuses and different terms and different legal statuses that people can even have? There's nothing there. You're hiring people that are willing to put on a mask and go and kidnap people. That's what you're doing. And you're paying them twice as much as you pay a teacher. People are saying, look at all this money that they're giving for these ICE officers. These teachers have been begging for raises for decades, and they get nothing. And so you have these people that do not understand the laws of this land, and they are going out there and they are determining who can be free on the street and who can be detained in these, you know, what they're calling concentration camps, and being treated mistreated, held without an attorney, held without even being able to reach their loved ones, all because of what? Because this person deemed that you were illegal, who this person didn't even get trained on what's illegal or not. Like, this is backwards.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating, and no one should accept this.
And it used to be so difficult to get a job with the federal government because they used to do background checks and all kind of stuff. They would call like your first grade teacher to ask questions about you. And now like folks are getting hired with no background checks with a job that has such an awesome responsibility that it's like, it's mind boggling that this is happening. I mean, it's wild.
Another thing that I think is worth mentioning is that the agency has now resumed enforcement at work sites. So we know that they had stopped doing picking people up at certain work sites. Now, out of his own mouth, he stated that they have now resumed, including farms, hotels, some cannabis operations. He said that these raids are backed by criminal warrants targeting not just undocumented workers, but also American companies allegedly exploiting labor via trafficking or child labor. So now we want to reiterate that now they're not just, when they come to the business, they're just not coming for the person who is illegal.
Period. They're lying. That's not true.
So okay, go for
it. They're lying. They're not doing that because if listen, I'm not trying to get into no big trouble here tonight. You understand?
No, listen, we're not here trying to get into trouble. We're just letting everybody know what the new director has stated.
They're not going to arrest no employers, no farm workers, because then they'll be arresting half the hotel industry. They'll be arresting all the big government contract holders. You know what I mean? They'll be arresting a whole bunch of people that they have absolutely no intentions of arresting. So they're not, and you know, and then to try to make it seem as though we're looking out for the immigrants, the same people that you detained and putting in chain rooms. Those are the people that you trying to convince somebody that you care about right now. So yeah, that is that's very disingenuous and it's not credible to me.
And not only that, ICE legally, ICE can go into public places, but they just can't go into private places. If a business owner does not want ICE to enter, they have the right to express that. And now whether or not they'll still go in is a different story. But there's laws that will protect the owner of that establishment. Like, you do not have to just sit back and allow.
In that farm example, the cannabis example that Naomi talked about, there was a person that died during that raid. Well, they were injured severely, was in critical condition, and ended up dying after that whole thing that happened, right? And there was another incident where there were some gardeners that were working. ICE was trying to get them, and they ran into the business. 2 of them made it inside. 1 of them didn't, and they were not allowed to get the 2 that made them inside. But the other person that was outside, they took that individual into custody because he did not get in the building safe enough. So what Christine is saying about they're not allowed to go into private spaces, they are. But I guess they could sit outside and stalk you or whatever, or then probably send some inspector over there to say you got roaches or rats or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, because they're gonna find some sort of way to annoy you because they're mad that you're protecting folks, right? So it's just, man, something got to give. Like the intensity on this is really a lot, and it started day one. So this literally has been like, it feels like 6 months of just straight terror,
And that really leads us into the 8 steps that we have been sharing through the.
You know what? Before we go into the 8th step, there was one other point that I wanted to make. Well, it might be 2, but I definitely wanted to talk about this, right? So in that interview, he started blaming elected officials for what was happening to the ICE agents. I was like, what? So it's their fault that they're getting attacked, right? Because they're doing the job of their constituents. And the reason why that kind of stood out to me is because those of us who voted for some of these folks, we're like, they're not doing enough, right? We're like, they're not doing enough. What are they doing? They're like standing aside watching, all these people deal with all these problems, and they're not doing enough. And he's with a straight face said, it's the elected officials that are coming out here talking about what's going on, that's making these ICE agents with their masks out to be the bad guy. And that's why, they're being attacked and threatened by members of the public. It's rich.
She said it's rich. Oh, and also, he also mentioned, if you have a criminal background in another country, these I guess they have
red notice on Interpol. That's always been the case, though. That's nothing new. That's not new. The Interpol red notice, that's not new.
So even if you did not commit a crime in the U.S. because you committed the crime in your home country, now the crime that you committed there deems you as a criminal.
Yeah, because some of those crimes make you inadmissible into the United States. Because those people probably shouldn't have been able to come in anyway because of the crime that they committed in their native country or in a foreign country. So that's not anything new. Now, how much and I'm not going to say that other administrations didn't do that. They just didn't make it public. Like like I said, the red notices, people name being in Interpol, folks getting arrested and sometimes it's even an allegation from your home country, right? Like if you're maybe a high profile person and you come from one of these governments that got some level of corruption going on, they can put in the system that you've committed a crime and an offense that you probably didn't do. Like I'm not, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Who knows, right? They can just drop an allegation, put it in there, and then now you're being arrested or detained in the United States as a result of it, and probably getting sent back to your country, to face a charge where there's no possibility of you getting a fair trial, right? So yeah, that's always been a thing. And there's some complications in that because some people actually committed the crime that they're charged with. And then sometimes it's used as a political tool for people that may have opposed the government in their native countries. That's why the asylum law was so important, because at least that person could say, listen, don't send me back here because of this. And they would have an opportunity to prove in the United States court that charge is fake and fraudulent. And it's a way to persecute them politically.
Christine?
I don't listen. Go. All right, go on to the next one.
And then he was also dissing like sanctuary cities and stuff. And I think they talked about that when he was saying, Obama had more detentions. And that was basically like if someone was arrested or convicted of something and they had a hold on them, that makes sense. Put a hold on them if they're arrested or they're convicted of a crime. And then, of course, still always give them their day in court. And that was happening. And that's the way it should happen. It shouldn't be that someone that's sitting, that went to get some coffee, from the little cafe, little cafe. They walk outside and some ICE agent arrest them, and all they were doing was going to get coffee. Or even if they were standing outside of Home Depot trying to work, you don't know if that person has the right to work or not, right? You're just looking at the fact that this person is standing outside of Home Depot, and you're making all kind of assumptions that they don't have proper authorization to work. That is not how this is supposed to work. Now, if the person gets arrested, they go to jail, and you could put a hold on them and make them explain why they shouldn't be in immigration. No one's complaining about that. Very few people are going to actually complain about that. This, like, I'm a passenger in a car, and just because I'm with this dude and I ain't even do nothing, you're going to ask me my name, and now all of a sudden I'm sitting in Chrome or some detention facility with no way of getting out because they've pretty much gotten rid of all the bond options, unless you fall into a very small category of folks. That's the part that's very problematic. Or even just going to a job site, you taking people out of work, like what? Like, come on. Like, just come on.
And I think that to say that he speaks of someone who's doing a good job, that it's almost as if you don't know the details of what has just happened in the last couple of months. You would think, or you would believe that, okay, this is a public safety. They're taking criminals, and now we can truly say, and undocumented people off our streets. But the reality of it is, there's a much deeper, I think, operation happening here that we are all aware of, and we know that it's morally it's wrong. It's wrong. And even when the gentleman who was interviewing said to him that, there are people that you're picking up that have not done anything wrong, and basically with a straight face he said, well, they're not authorized to be here. They're not authorized to be here. And so this is where we're at, and we're hoping that every person who is watching right now, please, if you do not have the proper documents, or you feel that your documents may not be in order, seek legal advice. Identify your status. Find out if there were possibly any appointments that you were supposed to go to that you did not go to, and because of that, the judge ruled against you. No, I remember years ago there was this whole thing of knowing your status, right, when it comes to HIV and AIDS, and still now, right? We promote every year making sure that you get tested. Right now, know your
status. Hey, listen, is there any way to put flick.org on the bottom of the screen?
Oh, I put it in there twice, and I'll just add it up here. But yes, I've put it up twice. And Carleen Maxwell Williams, who works with Flick, she does like citizenship drives in Lauderdale Lakes in different parts of the state. She was on, and she said thank you for shouting out Flick. And they may have something this Saturday. So if you're still on, Ms. Maxwell Williams, let us know where that citizenship drive is taking place. But I believe there's one in Lauderhill on Saturday, maybe at the Lauderhill Mall, or it might be in Lauderdale Lakes. I always get those two cities confused, and I apologize. If I did.
I'm looking right now.
Yeah, but they have a citizenship drive in Broward, I believe, this Saturday.
And while Sandra is talking about the citizenship drive, if you are a resident and you qualify,
a lawful permanent resident.
Oh, say that again.
You gotta be clear, because people are like, well, I live in Broward. Am I a resident? No, we mean lawful permanent residents of the United States that have that form, that card I-551. That's called a green card. That's the residents that we talking about. And you meet all of the statutory requirements, apply for citizenship.
Okay, now, if you meet everything that Sandra just stated, please do not delay. Do not delay. We know that, for some families, the fees may be a little difficult for you to put together, but it is an investment. Okay.
And they're going up. The fees are going to go up like crazy high. So they need to go ahead and do that.
So please go get a free consultation. Flick.org. We have the website right there underneath the name of the show. If you go to their website every Wednesday, every single Wednesday, they have lawyers on, and they
At
are
2 o'clock.
ready at 2 o'clock to give you free legal advice. All you have to do is literally sign on so that you can get the Zoom link. You don't have to come in person, and you can get free advice. There are a lot and we know these are very difficult times, so we're not trying to diminish what you're going through, but we want you to know that there are a lot of resources out there. Flick is one of your greatest resource right now. Please go to their website, sign on for their clinic every Wednesday at 2 o'clock so you can get a free consultation. And once you get that free consultation, follow through. Follow through. At this time, I think it's a great time to discuss the 8 steps, and we can close with that.
I think
So
Christine has the information
I'm on
yes.
their
Okay.
Instagram, and it's show that the drives happened the past 2 Saturdays. I don't see it happening this Saturday, but if you go on their website, they have an events calendar, so it's probably on their events calendar.
Okay, so it was one last Saturday, not
There was
this
one
Saturday coming up. Okay, okay.
Okay, great. We do have our next step TPS coming up. If anyone is in the Bell Glade area and you would like to join us, we will be there this Sunday. This Sunday.
Okay. All right, so you could let me make the correction. There is Commissioner Maxwell is having a citizenship drive this Saturday, because this Saturday is July 26th, right?
26, yes.
Yeah, so it's on July 26th between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. at the Lauderdale Lakes Multi-Purpose Center at 4340 Northwest 36th Street, Lauderdale Lakes, Florida 33319. So Commissioner Carly Maxwell, she's with Flick.org. There's some co-sponsors. It's a couple of Haitian organizations. HLA is a part of it. New Americans Campaign, Manners, Medicaid, and some other stuff. NSU. So it's at the Lauderdale Lakes Multi-Purpose Center, 4340 Northwest 36th Street, Lauderdale Lakes, Florida, Saturday, July 26th, between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Citizenship drive.
Excellent. And we can drop it in the comments for you. Also, as we stated, we're having another Haitian TPS Next Steps Town Hall in the Belle Glade area. That is this Sunday, July 27th at 11 a.m. The location is True Gospel Holiness Center. True Gospel Holiness Center. And so if you want to be a part of that, we will also be going live. Again, we are there just to give information, so everyone knows their rights, they know the resources that are available, and hopefully we can lead someone to making the best decision for them and their family.
Yes. And then we have our next one in West Park on Tuesday at Koinonia Church. That is, let me get the exact address. I have it on my Instagram. Koinonia Worship Center. That is 4900 West Hollandale Beach Boulevard, Pembroke Park, Florida. Okay, so anyone that's in the Miramar area, West Park area, even Miami Gardens area, you can come out there, and we will have that. Our town hall begins at 6:30 on Tuesday. And I want to give a shout out to Senator Chevron Jones, who provided, the contact for the facility for the church. Thank you so much.
And do we have one coming? I believe we should be having one up in Fort Lauderdale too. And hopefully we'll be able to provide that address, but there's going to be a public one, I think, in Fort Lauderdale also, right?
Yes.
We're doing
next Thursday, the
Okay.
31st. We're working. We're out here.
Yep, we're trying to get it all done. We're trying to get it all in. Okay, so that's not, it can't be that. I was trying to see if I could put up that flyer, but I'm not really good with this techie stuff. And I tried to drop it in the chat, but apparently it won't let me do that. So yeah.
Okay. Follow us on social media. The flyers are on they're pinned to the top of mine. If you go to @Christine4FL, and 4 is spelled out. So Christine FORFL, and you'll see the flyers there.
Okay, I'm dropping them in the link right now as we speak.
Okay, so she knows how to do it. Thank you. I don't know how to do it. All right, so thank you for doing that. And then, we want to remind you to subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to us to Racing the Races on YouTube. So it's Racing the Races everywhere. So it's Racing the Races on YouTube, Racing the Races on TikTok, Racing the Races on Instagram, and there's a Racing the Races page on Facebook. So yeah, definitely subscribe to it. We have the videos. We also have clips that you can see a part of what we talk about, and maybe it'll interest you and you can go back and watch the full-length video. Some of the town halls we've done, if you're not able to go in person, we do have like our Pembroke Pines town hall that's full length is on the Racing the Races page on YouTube. And then we also have one that we ended up doing it in Creole. The town hall that happened in Lauderhill, somehow it started off in English, and I think about 5 minutes later, the whole thing ended up being like a full Creole. So if you know any Creole speakers that want that information, we actually have practically a full-length video in Creole talking about the 8 steps that Naomi mentioned. So definitely follow us on all the socials, and subscribe to the channel and share the content with people, because I think at least the Wednesday shows that I do all kind of different things, but the Thursday shows are really targeted towards providing information and resources to people in the community, and particularly in this very, very stressful time that we're in right now.
Yes. And you're doing a great job. Thank you so much, Sandra, for keeping the community informed and really being committed to this. That this is a love project. You can see how much you love the community. I believe that knowledge is power. Even last night at the town hall that we did in Pompano Beach, people were just so grateful to get the knowledge. And what I'm realizing is that there's so much misinformation out there. What we're doing is valuable. We are bringing real information, but not just that. Attorneys, organizations, advocates, we're bringing people in a space that can actually answer the questions that the audience has. So I just want to, definitely give you your flowers now, because you're doing a lot of great work. So
and you get yours too, because you were the brainchild behind the whole thing, right? So, and this is not gonna be no sloppy love session. This is pure facts, right? Like, ain't nobody trying to we're gonna boost our besties up and everything, but this is very true. You know how when you do things, you're like, well, if what I do only impacts one person, then I know I've done a good thing. I'm telling you, what we're doing, it does, because we have already, from the presentations that we've done, we've already received call. Yes, I called Flick, I made an appointment, they're gonna help me. This is real life stuff that's actually happening. We're getting feedback from folks that are there while we're at events. They're trying to plan other ones, and I'm just like, well, I still gotta earn some money because I got kids that I gotta take care of. So so we do we do the best we can, and love doing it. But it's not it's only 5 minutes. The presentation itself is 2 hours. Then you're commuting. So we're committing serious blocks of times, folks. But it's all worth it, and it's all it's gonna make a difference. And we had some elected, right? We had an elected who sent a rep out to talk to the people that came into our space, that wanted to let the community know that they see what we're doing, and they're taking some of the information and using it to provide folks to the community. So I really think it is beneficial. We're truly providing good information. And the fact that the thing that's really good about it is that we have people that have that subject area experts in their own thing, and you're bringing all of those minds together to provide solutions for folks. So,
I mean, are we allowed to say the commissioner's name? Because I want to knock on doors for her when it's time for her reelection.
Oh yeah, we know. We definitely can talk about her. We definitely can talk about her.
Commissioner Perkins in Pompano Beach.
Yes.
I mean, first off, the level of protection that she showed for her community and how she really made sure that this event yesterday was going to be a safe space, and just the fact that she went above and beyond to make sure that we even had it, and then she had refreshments. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you something, Commissioner Perkins, when it's time for her reelection, I'm going to knock on doors for her, because I know that she's delivering for the people. Even it's not like it benefits her in any specific way. She doesn't need this information, but she knew that her community needed it, and so she went above and beyond. So yes. Thank you.
She did that. She definitely did that yesterday. And I called this morning, and the person who connected us, I was like, listen, let me tell you, she came through, and she stayed the whole time. She was there before we got there. She was setting up. She stayed, make sure we had like extra microphones and everything.
She let us stay longer. Like, amazing. She's like, no, I want everybody to get the information they need. That's love.
And she's a straight alpha, because alphas, people talk about alpha, they wait until everybody leaves. So she didn't leave until we were gone, right? Like, she literally, we got in our cars, because Christine left a little bit before me, and I stayed back and talked a little bit, but we were all gone before she pulled out of there. That is a straight alpha move, and I truly appreciate everything that she does. So shout out to Commissioner Beverly Perkins in the city of Pompano Beach. You did that last night. Truly appreciate it. And others said, Lauderhill looked out. So we're going, Ray Martin, we got you too. You looked out. You looked out for us too.
I was just about to say.
So shout out to Ray Martin. And we kind of messed up on that date, because that was a date where there were a lot of other events happening. So we didn't have the turnout in person, but online we did, because we had like a big, so people were watching it online. So he came out there, but he had like 11 other events to go to. So shout out to you, Ray Martin. We truly, truly appreciate all the things you did for us in the city of Lauderhill. And Christine, shout out Chef Joe already for providing the space in West Park.
And Sheila, she sent her team yesterday. She sent her team yesterday. They came out and they spoke on behalf of Congresswoman Sheila Sherfilis McCormick, and they spoke on, where the Congresswoman stands on many issues and how she supports our movement to getting the information out to the people. It was really great. She actually sent someone out to the Lauderhill one too. So this is the second time our Congresswoman has sent her team to our town halls, and she was having a town hall herself. That's why she couldn't make it.
Yeah. They're doing a lot of work, right? So I shout out to all of them that are helping us with what it is that we're doing. We did some other events in some other cities too. And we're doing, and on top of the public ones, we're actually doing private events too. So it's not that we're only in these public spaces. We see you. We have folks who want us to come in, talk to their folks. They don't want it publicized, and we're coming in there and we're doing that. So so shout out. So thank you. And we may be doing a public event in Fort Lauderdale next week. We're waiting for that location. That will probably be on July the 31st. So once we have that location, then the flyer will come out with the address. But West Park is next. So that's Tuesday night in West Park.
And so we want to, if you are an elected official, an organizer, community leader, pastor, and you would like us to come out into your facility to host one of our next steps, please call 305-978-5088. That's 305-978-5088. We know school is starting mid-August, so any time dates that you have in mind, please feel free to reach out to us and we will get you on the calendar.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So this is it's good. It's good stuff. And thank you for all that's watching. Go ahead and share it. Like we said, subscribe. Christine FOR Florida or number 4 Florida.
FOR.
Christine FOR Florida. Dr. Blemur, you got social too. What is yours?
For Naomi FOR FL, just like Christine FOR FL. On Instagram, on Facebook, everywhere, same thing.
Maybe Sandra, you need to get Sandra FOR.
I want them thinking I'm running for nothing. No. No, I'm not
Listen,
running for anything.
Florida got some real troopers ready to go, and in the meantime, we're just doing the work,
Yes.
from city to city. You know, small town. It doesn't matter. Your church, your community center. You ask us to come. We're gonna show up and we're gonna deliver.
And I said West Park is next. That's not true. Belglade is next on Sunday, and then West Park on Tuesday. Yes.
Exactly. I'm gonna drop everything in the chat again. If you want us to come to your location, please just give us a call and we'll get you on the calendar. Thank you for everyone who has supported in one way or the other. I think that we are truly making a huge impact. Thank you for all our Haitian advocates, right? Ona Surin, Natalie Demesment, Delphine Jervis. We have so many.
Was it Jessica Jefferson is her last name? It's like Jessica, the social worker. Ruth Jean came last night and helped us out. And Andre McKinney helped us out in the Lauderhill event. The superintendent helped us out there. So yeah, it's a whole bunch of folks.
So many advocates just showing up in their space,
donating their time.
Yeah, Tessa, Renata, those young ladies.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, guys, I think it's a wrap for tonight.
Yes, have a good one and see you guys. We'll probably go live on Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Have a good night.
Good night.
Hey, y'all. Sandra Sheffrin, host of Racing the Races. Go ahead. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel called Racing the Races. Subscribe to our TikTok page, Racing the Races, and like us on Facebook and Instagram, Racing the Races. Go ahead. Support the page. I'm tired of getting crazy comments from these white dude trolls that's mad. Like, why y'all mad in the comments now? So come on, y'all. Those who are fans of the show, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, comment on the video. Tell us what else you would like to see instead of me having to read all these trolling comments. But I see it as a compliment because I showed up in their feed and I really don't know who they are. And since they're not challenging the content is good. They want to make personal attacks, but that's okay. So I need y'all to go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube page, subscribe to TikTok. All of it is called Racing the Races, and go ahead and like us on Facebook and Instagram.